Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. This is your girl Sunny and I am back to you with another video. Today's video is going to be how to apply tips correctly on an expensive practice hand. Okay, we are working with the red iguana Ana Luisa full hand today. I think this is the left one if I'm correct, but get into it. Okay, this is like my little show and tell of how this hand has held up. I purchased this hand or these hands I think in the month of November, so around mid-November is when I got them, and as you can see, these nail beds are still beautiful. Okay, there is no real wear and tear, no damage that's visible. I'm going to show you, of course, the thumb, and then I'll even flip this hand over so that way you can kind of see how these hands have held up. If you take proper care of these hands and don't glue tips onto these nail beds, these hands could really last a long time. I mean, you're not paying $179 per hand for these hands to be giving away in 3 months, 4 months, not even a year. I mean, I plan on having these hands for a really long time, and I'm going to show you my methods so that way you guys can keep these hands intact as well, but still get your practice out, girl, because, you know, we want to hone our crafts. We want to perfect our crafts. We want to be lit, okay? So still practice. Now I'm going to go ahead and jump right on into this tutorial and show you guys the sizes of the tips that I'll be using to create the nail bed. So I'll be using a 9 for the pinky, a 4 for the ring finger, a 3 for the middle finger, a 5 for the index finger, and a 0 for the thumb. Now, I had to use these sizes because there's no repeat sizes in this particular set that I bought, and I just didn't feel like opening up a whole nother pack of nails for this. So because it's the base, it doesn't really exactly matter if they're 100% perfect. You just want to make sure that, you know, it just fits inside the nail. Now, the nails that I am using here, as you can see, they are extra long. Everything that I'll be using in this in terms of products, just make sure you go ahead and check the cards below because everything will be linked there. So these nail beds are really deep. I love these red iguana hands. I don't understand how anybody has any complaints. I don't understand how people say that the tips slide out. I don't get it. I really don't. But again, I'm not going to say I don't get something without showing you why I have a better way of doing something. So right now what I'm doing is I slid the tips all the way up the nail bed, and then I'm going to go ahead and cut the tip kind of almost a millimeter right above the free edge, just to give me a little bit of space, because you do want to have just a tad bit of room for the next step that you'll be seeing me do. But as you can see, I'm just cutting slightly below the actual free edge of the practice hands tip. So it's great that all of these tips that I'm using are extremely long, although it's such a pity to waste such a long tip, but it's great to have tips that can go as far back into the nail bed as possible. So I make sure that I use the longest tips that I have, because obviously you do want a little bit of space to be able to work with when it comes to the free edge. So what I'm going to do right now is just rough up this nail a little bit. Now you're going to see me kind of do the underside. That's actually not required for the base nail. So this step is just me working out of habit, because this is actually how I apply tips to people, period, or, you know, when I'm actually doing nails. So you don't actually have to do the underside, but you do want to do the overside. You don't even have to do the full nail. You really only have to do the part of the nail that's exposed. But because it's not that much room to work with, I'm just going to go ahead and give this nail a little bit of grit the entire nail down. So as you guys continue to see me work with these nails and rough them up a bit, I do just want to really re-explain the importance of using a very long tip to create a nail bed on these nails. So again, a common comment I see when people use any kind of nails that kind of go into these well-like nail beds for these practice hands, that a common problem is that the nails pop out when they're working with them. So again, having well-fitted tips, but actually long enough tips to go all the way back through this nail well, is going to give you that support to be able to work with this nail as you are practicing on it. So what I'll do is, after this video, just so this is not a long one, I'm gonna go ahead and show you how I, practice on this practice hand. So I'll make sure I do like a full set, just so you can kind of see what it would look like to work on these nails. I'll do something even maybe simple, like an encapsulated look, just so that anybody who's a beginner can, you know, kind of do that as like a first set. So now I'm rounding out the edges of the free edge of this tip. Ooh, say that 3 times fast. But this is just to create a more natural nail, as if it's more of like a human nail. It just gives it a better shape. So when you're applying a tip, it doesn't look like you're applying a tip to a tip. It looks like you're applying a tip to a human nail. So as I continue to do this, it gets kind of redundant, but you want to make sure you do this to all 5 of the nails. I do just want to mention again, I don't understand why you guys glue tips to these hands. These hands, I mean, at least the hand I'm working with, is pretty darn expensive. I invested my own coin into these hands, so I maybe feel, I don't know, differently. But I just wanted to make sure that there was a way that simply explained how you could save these hands, how you could make your hands last longer. And I know that one of the main ways of making these hands last longer is by increasing the longevity of these nail beds remaining on these nails. I've seen some crazy hands, and don't get me wrong, I'm sure some beautiful sets have come out of those fingers. But I don't know. It's just, when I never even, glue just never even crossed my mind when I bought these hands. Like, I saw these practice hands, understood that there was a well dug into these fingernails so you could slide a tip in them, and my first reaction was, okay, cool, tip on top of a tip. I never thought to glue, I don't know, a tip onto these nails. So I don't want you to either. But now what I'm doing is sliding the base all the way into these nails. So this nail was a little bit long. I think her left finger, index finger, it does have a really long nail bed compared to the other 5 nails, which isn't a problem. I mean, frankly, I'm going to make these nails work, okay? Because, you know, people's hands aren't always perfect, and I'm sure she's using her hand. But it's a little bit longer, so I did have to kind of go back in and, you know, just reshape that nail. But I am going to go ahead and insert all of these nails right back into the nail bed. So I'm a perfectionist, and this ring finger was just not giving me life. So I just went ahead and continued to file down just a little bit more of the side walls of this particular nail tip, just because her nail on this nail is just a little bit thinner. So I wanted to go ahead and really make sure that this nail bed fit the shape of the nail. It was at this moment that I realized these tips were sturdy, okay? 100% qualified, 100% certified. These tips aren't going anywhere. So get into it, get into it, get into it. This is the secret sauce, okay? This is Sunny's secret sauce for not having to glue your nail tips into these nail beds, okay? This is how we are preserving hands 2021, okay? No more glue. We are putting down the Gorilla Glue. We are putting down KDS glue. We are putting down super glue. We are putting down all of that, okay? Alrighty, now it's time to fit the tips. So what I'm going to do is use an 8 for the pinky, 2 3s for the ring finger and the middle finger. I'm going to use a 5 for the pointer finger and a 0 for the thumb. Now, as I mentioned to you in the beginning, I told you I'm a creature of habit and I have formed a habit of putting on some tips. So I am now going to go ahead and file the inner or the under and the over layer of the tip, because I want to make sure that there is some grit on both sides to make sure that product can be placed on the top without slipping and sliding, but also the nail has something to grip onto when it comes to gluing the tip onto the nail bed. So I'm going to go ahead and do that for all 5 of the nails as well. Alright, so this is just a sun tip, but I usually use what they refer to as the natural color nail tip for my nail bed base. And then I generally use a clear nail tip regardless of if it's these extra long ones or even shorter tips for shorter sets, just so I have some differentiation between what is the nail tip and what is considered the nail bed. So as you continue to watch me file these nails, I just want to call some attention to my previous videos. If you haven't already checked out my Red Iguana full hand reviews, then definitely go check them out. Also, prior to, I did put out a how to do a full set without using a nail drill, along with a how to marble poly gel. So if you haven't already checked those 2 videos out, or those 3 videos out, make sure you go check them out. And then I do have a nail desk tour that I am going to be putting out shortly, along with the completion of me just doing, again, that simple set on this hand that I just created, some nail tips on. So I might as well do a set on these as well. Alright, so let's get some nail tips on these nail beds. So I am using the Miracle Super Strong nail glue. They originally reached out to me to send it for a review, and then I ended up loving it so much that I bought like 2 more boxes. So I love this project, 10 out of 10, definitely would recommend. But I am going to go ahead and begin to glue these nail tips right on to these nails. So I just put some glue into that nail well that's on this tip, and then, just glue it right on to my nail bed. And this is generally how I actually apply these tips on to, humans as well. I actually really like these nails tips because they just give a little bit of added support than the, I want to say, traditional nail tip that just goes right over a nail tip. This kind of goes mid nail bed, so it just gives, like, people who are wearing these extra long nail sets just a little bit of added support. So I definitely would recommend these extra long nail tips as well. They'll be linked in the cards below. One thing I do have a problem with, though, is that sometimes they come in numbered bags, as you saw with the clear tips, but other times, like with the natural tips that I used for this particular set, they don't come numbered, and outside of them not coming numbered, they're like packaged weird. They're like packaged 0 through 11 or 12. I'm not exactly sure how high these go, but they go from 0 to 12. So you have to separate them all and then put them back together. I don't like that, though. So I'm just going to cut down these nail tips to my desired length. I generally love to do extra long sets. One of these days, ladies, I will eventually do a short set. Yes. If you guys put enough pressure on me or really show that you must have a short set, I might do it sooner, but it is coming. So what I'm doing right now is I am shaping the nail. Now, I don't actually shape the nail on the practice hand. You could probably do that, but I'm not going to risk my nail file going up on the silicone of these hands. So I take the nail out and I just go ahead and, file it offhand. So again, at this point, these nails are pretty secure. They are not flopping and squirming and wiggling out of this hand. I mean, it takes a little bit of force to even kind of pull them out. So I'm sure that if you use long enough nail tips to be the nail bed in the first place, you shouldn't have really any issues with being able to work with these hands or put product on these hands. And this is coming from a girl who works with polygel, because again, polygel, you have to drag it, you have to work with it, so there's more chances of a nail slipping out versus, you know, acrylic, which kind of just slides down the nail tip. So again, I am telling you, I use nail drills with this hand very carefully, of course. So yes, the E-file, when I feel like using it, not very often, but when I feel like using it, I will use an E-file every now and then, and these nails stay in. So again, we are stopping the Gorilla Glue. We are stopping the glue, period. Okay, put down the glue, girl. Put down the glue, sis. Okay, we are not doing this for 2021. I want you guys to make sure that your hands are holding up and being those perfect models that you need them to be for as long as they can possibly be. Okay, so this is just coming from one nail enthusiast to another. Please do not waste your money by being uber rough on these hands, or by like gluing nails. Nail tips is what I'm primarily talking about, but yes, and we can get into unnatural positions in another, you know, video, but yes, just be careful with your nails. Now, I'm just doing a good enough job shaping these. I'm not taking too much time on them, to be completely honest. I like to believe that I have a pretty good eye for things. So I only do my friends' hands is what I'm saying. No, I'm joking. I'm a perfectionist, but I don't know, shaping, it's not that hard. Get a good hand file with some good grit on it and you are in business, okay? But this is the shape, okay? So yes, they're a little wonky. I don't want you commenting down below saying, oh, they're wonky. I know they're wonky, but this is just for the purpose of this video. So this is just what it looks like to apply nail tips onto a hand without gluing them. So I am now going to use a base coat, and I am just going to go ahead and base coat these nails just to seal them in and get them prepped and ready to go to have product be applied to them. I am currently using a 𝗵𝗏 base coat that I have. I usually always in my nail kit, in my nail drawer, really, keep like some 𝗵𝗏 top coat and base coat, regardless of the kit that I'm using, just because I want to always have like it just always on hand. So I'm just using, I think this came from the green kit, but generally all of 𝗵𝗏's top coats and bottom coats work, you know, the same. So I love 𝗵𝗏, shameless plug. It has to be in every video. Okay. But yeah. So I am still just painting right on over these nails. Yes. They look gorgeous regardless of the wonky shape. And I'm telling you, I'm really telling you guys, I promise, trust in sun, these nails aren't going anywhere, okay? So the set that I decided to do for these nails, for this next video I'm shooting, is going to be a all clear encapsulated type set. So I'm going to actually just top coat the bottom of these nails as well, so that way they're just extra shiny underneath. I want them to look like glass, and they will when I'm using 𝗵𝗏's clear polygel. Another shameless plug. I know I must be stopped. But yeah, so I'm just gonna go ahead and coat them. Somebody asked me on Facebook, and I don't know if I ever clarified on another video, but I always use top coat when it's like the final coat. So my nails don't generally get sticky with top coat. It's usually only base coat that gives that sticky, tacky layer. But as you can see, right now I am just taking some rubbing alcohol, 70%, and I'm just wiping down all of these nails to remove that sticky, tacky layer that base coat left on the top of the nail. So this is how the cookie crumbles, guys. This is just about it. Now, I do just want to mention, again, my hand I purchased in November, and it is now, what, February? Oh, it's March. It's March. I'm actually recording this March 1st. It's not even me recording this. I'm just doing the voiceover for this. I've been slacking. Anyway, I love doing nail content. I love filming and like actually doing nails, but sometimes the editing process, I get backed up on that. So I'm gonna get better. I promise. I will have so many more videos to come of me doing a variety of different things. Please don't ever hesitate to put suggestions down below. And as always, if this video was at all any help to you, maybe you were just entertained or you just like to hear me talk, please make sure you smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. That really helps people find my channel. Also, make sure you subscribe. I am going to get better with posting content, but again, it's better to subscribe to me, hit that notification bell so that way anytime I do put out new content, you won't miss it. Thank you so much for watching, and no more glue 2021. Hope you have a sunny day. Bye-bye.
All these late night texts have kinda made me question myself, like am I going crazy? You walk around like everything is so crazy. I'ma say goodbye.